Hi, everybody. Alright, so Netanyahu actually came out today and said when everybody was basically in or around Syria with Russia and the United States and everybody, Israel had sent forces into Syria. He claimed it was to launch dozens of strikes in Syria to prevent transfer of weapons to Hezbollah fighters. However, from what we know, Hezbollah had absolutely nothing to do in Syria. Therefore, why was Israel there? Well, we know why. We know that they know that there is basically oceans of oil in Syria. We know that they are at least partly responsible for the creation of ISIS. And probably to destroy weapon caches going to ISIS as well. But this source says Hezbollah, and he mentioned Hezbollah, so to him it's probably the same militants running 2-3 different organizations at a time, depending on who contracts who and what and everything else. So there's a little discrepancy here as to what it was. Netanyahu didn't specify when the strikes occurred or the precise number, but said they were meant to prevent the terror group from obtaining more lethal firepower. Now, this is actually a very impressive quote, which probably speaks volumes for his regime in Israel. When we need to act, including here across the border, with dozens of strikes meant to prevent Hezbollah from obtaining game-changing weaponry. In other words, when we need to act, we act. So that means anytime they need to cross a border, they do it unilaterally, without sanction, without telling the other country. If they need to do it, they will do it. Remember that article I had better part of 6 months ago, where it said that a captured Israeli colonel had been found in Syria helping and training ISIS? Yeah, my guess is probably went straight back to Netanyahu. But every once in a while, ladies and gentlemen, if you look hard enough, you can actually spot the plots on the map to help out. So it'll be very interesting to see what's what and everything else. So Netanyahu said Israel operated in Syria. And we know there are local reports of those guys being on the ground. There were supposedly higher ups in the Israeli government. They were help training ISIS commanders, fighters, you name it, any number of things. No doubt they were involved in training the Syrian rebels Obama helped train as well. But I highly doubt we would ever get that information out of them. So, you get it, folks. This is the idea. This is as close to everything as we can find. And basically, this is what it comes down to. They were there supposedly to prevent Hezbollah from obtaining weapons. And at the bottom it says Israeli leaders said that Hezbollah has built up rocket arsenal and some can strike inside of Israel. And with Syria being on its border, no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, they will act unilaterally in any capacity, offensive and or defensive, to protect their country, including probably proxying jihadi fighters to sanction their own ends. Sorry, folks, that kind of thing has been done for centuries. Far back in history as you can find, the The primary group usually in some way or another radicalizes a local group, trains their offense or their clandestine units, and everything else. This was seen in Rome from training the militias, or whatever you want to call it, from the pagan that they sought after. This was done in the 16 or 15, 16, 1700s with the East India Trading Company via Britain. Uh, training those that would be the pirates because they needed a group that could go off and do things in the areas they could not operate, so the East India Trading Company had to be brought in. And of course, we have all the Vatican conspiracies with the Knights Templar, which were brought into power so they could access areas that the barbarians and other Arab tribes and other people would not allow. So they sent in their spies, they did this, they did that, and eventually they radicalized the local population, and then they got to call in the big army to go in and do it, and then the little groups that want in, go in, do what they have to do, they pull out, and 6 months to a year later, the big war stops. It's the same thing with any civilization, ladies and gentlemen. So, thank you.